Call of Duty tier list. These titles should not be unfamiliar to any of you guys. I know a lot of people in here know me, particularly from my time playing tactical FPS, casual FPS, all things FPS. Let's kick it off. Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare. For many, this is where it all was kicking off, okay? Online games were really starting to kind of pick up. This game was the foundation for the way that casual shooters are made today. 3-lane, simple 6v6 titles. Call of Duty 4, I think, from what I know, did it just about first. If not, it was among the first. It offered such a good balance of like FPS gameplay and gunplay. Not only did it have that, but it was also peak in terms of the weapons available and the maps that were made. Having those 3-lane maps that made up most of the maps in the early Call of Duty days, and frankly, what I think made Call of Duty multiplayer so great in its early days, was a peak reason as to why I think Call of Duty 4 succeeded. Not only that, but they also offered kill streaks. This was kind of the inception of kill streaks in Call of Duty and even just other games that were out there, man. So I think Call of Duty 4, needless to say, has its place in that A tier. Only reason I don't think Call of Duty 4 deserves its place in the S tier is just because of what's going to come. All right, on a comparative level, Call of Duty 4 was an amazing game, but I think Call of Duty would continue to thrive in those areas that I was just talking about. Moving on, we got Call of Duty World at War. This was a big title. It offered something that no other game had given us the opportunity to experience before. It offered, yes, Call of Duty Zombies. Call of Duty Zombies going on to be one of the most popular modes across all of video games. Started right here. Treyarch continued to absolutely slam zombies every single title, which frankly I think is super impressive because they continue to also offer incredible campaigns that also followed like the same storyline, and all of Treyarch's like multiplayer maps and like multiplayer design was still amazing as well, just going forward. I don't think they really ever missed on those levels until maybe later titles. Treyarch has continued to deliver on a level of consistency that needs to be studied across time and space, all right? Call of Duty World at War, the multiplayer was good. The zombies was a big wow factor, and it also delivered incredibly. Correct me if I'm wrong, boys, but didn't zombies, wasn't it the result of like an Easter egg? Wasn't it like a thing that once you finish the campaign, zombies would unlock at the very end of the game? I think Call of Duty World at War certainly deserves its place in the A tier just because it would start a generational run for Call of Duty first and foremost. Literally, people are still playing zombies to this day. It laid the groundwork for what zombies is now, and zombies has turned into something that's strayed very far away from what it was in World at War. But the run that it went on in terms of enclosed maps and the perk system and the mystery box, all that kind of stuff, this all started in Call of Duty World at War. So definitely deserves a W. Plus the maps, the zombie maps in World at War were phenomenal. For that reason, Call of Duty World at War A tier for sure. Now, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. This is the first ever Call of Duty title that I ever played. I would go back to play the other ones, but when I first got my Xbox 360 in the Christmas of 2010, one of the first games that I got was Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. I got it at the same time as Black Ops. But even though Black Ops was the newer game, I instantly jumped on Modern Warfare 2 because it was all I was hearing about at the time. I'd go into my middle school lunchroom and all my buddies who already had Xbox 360s, they were talking about nothing else than Modern Warfare 2. Amazing multiplayer. Maps that are remembered to this day for amazing reason. The gunplay, incredible. All right. If you want to talk about the ACR with a silencer, you want to talk about the UMP silencer, stopping power, pro, commando knives, commando pro, things like that. The intervention, right? Trick shotting's inception from Modern Warfare and what that would do to game. Trick shotting literally kicked off gaming culture online as it is, right? This game was monumental. Modern Warfare 2 did so much for gaming, it's hard to comprehend. The campaign mode was incredible, dude. Captain Price, Soap, right? You had Ghost, right? Like literally a title that, or a character that like they would go on to make video games, I guess like not based off of, but like kind of in celebration of. It's hard to put Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 anywhere but S tier because what it did for gaming culture, the absolute quality of game that it was, incredible title. And just to get back to it, I still have nostalgic memories of me going back into custom games and playing things like Michael Myers, Border Crossing, Border Patrol, Cops and Robbers. These were all like little mini games that me and my buddies would get together and play after school. And they were some of my favorite memories in Call of Duty as a whole. Some of you guys know who I'm talking about. The OGs in the Call of Duty scene know exactly what I'm talking about. It's hard to think that anybody went through Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 without playing some of those custom games with their buddies. And frankly, if you didn't, I feel sorry for you because it was an incredible time. Moving on, Call of Duty Black Ops. Now, I just told you that Call of Duty Black Ops was simultaneously the first Call of Duty title that I had ever gotten alongside Modern Warfare 2 for that one Christmas, right? Call of Duty Black Ops not only stepped it up with the zombies, which was something that everybody was waiting for after World at War, right? I mean, like, we were playing classic maps. Kino der Toten. Need I say more? I will. Pentagon, Moon, Shangri-La. What's that one map? Call of the Dead. Call of the Dead with that boss that would follow you around. The campaign and the multiplayer still had so much to offer as well. The multiplayer, I don't think that the people loved the gunplay when it came to Call of Duty Black Ops comparatively, because Modern Warfare 2's gunplay was so great. Plus there was like literally no recoil on any of the weapons in Modern Warfare 2. So Black Ops brought in things like the FAMAS, and you couldn't even fucking aim straight if you didn't have enough practice with it, right? I think Call of Duty Black Ops did maps so incredibly well. Even the DLC maps did so well. For me, when I think of Call of Duty Black Ops, I always think about the FAMAS. And I think about the Commando. I think about the, what was that weird ass weapon? It was the G11. Some of you guys remember the G11. Dude, even the AK in that game was so satisfying. Some of you motherfuckers probably even remember the combat training. How fun was it to be able to jump into combat training and act like you were just dominating motherfuckers out there, knowing they were all bots? Come on, we all did it. We all did it, jumping into combat training and getting our, attack dogs and just farming kills, acting like we were the absolute man. We all did that shit. Remember, this is also the first time that you could make emblems, right? They offered like a full emblem creator. Some of the shit that people were coming up with in that emblem creator, having like 20 plus layers of shapes to be able to throw together and make some cool ass shit. I'm not gonna lie, dude. If I went into a multiplayer lobby and somebody had like some super detailed emblem in a multiplayer game, like I just knew I was gonna get shit on prior to the game even like starting. I was always the guy with like a basic ass emblem. I could never do the YouTube tutorials. I was like 12 at the time, but I didn't have the mental capacity to be able to make all these cool pictures and whatnot. We didn't even touch on it, but the campaign for Black Ops was monumental as well. All right, the numbers, Mason, what do they mean? Brother, you cannot deny that Call of Duty Black Ops was probably the most, I would say the most iconic campaign experience for a Call of Duty video game. There were other games that by all means, right, had like some big stuff to it, but I've never heard people quote a video game more than Call of Duty Black Ops. I mean, there's other things like Modern Warfare 2 had like things like no Russian, but like Black Ops always, like I always hear people quoting Black Ops. So for that reason, I think Call of Duty Black Ops is S tier. Don't be surprised if you see me just fucking go off on the S tiers here, boys, because that's right where Modern Warfare 3 is going. I'm coming out hot out the gate. Modern Warfare 3, once again, another incredible campaign. The campaign for Modern Warfare 3 was amazing. All right. Multiplayer, phenomenal. The only thing that I didn't like about the multiplayer didn't even have to do with the actual game or with the actual gunplay or like mechanics itself. It was like the art style, right? I don't know if you guys remember, Modern Warfare 3 had like a little bit of like a, like almost like a grayscale kind of like color coding to it. They made it look more realistic, but it didn't, like, the colors just didn't pop in their games nearly as much as what Treyarch did. I don't know how many of you guys actually played that survival mode, but I thought it was fun, man, where they offered like waves and waves and waves of enemies you'd play on the multiplayer maps, and you could get together with your buddies and try to like stand together against like hordes of juggernauts and things like that. Such a fun time, honest to God. It wasn't zombies by any means, but it was still a nice little side mode. Moving on, Modern Warfare 3 is staying S tier for sure. And frankly, I don't think any of you guys can disagree with me on this. Call of Duty Black Ops 2 S tier. Are you done? Are you done now? Black Ops 2 S tier. This is undeniable. I feel like this was like the sweet spot for Call of Duty, where it brought on kind of like almost like a newer generation of Call of Duty fans. I feel like this was about like when all everybody, like all my friends, like little brothers and stuff like that. My little brother was starting to like play a shit ton of like video games around the time that Black Ops 2 came out. I feel like for a lot of people, this was a lot of people's first Black Ops or first Call of Duty. The campaign was incredible. Raul Menendez. That campaign was so good. Frankly, I think it was the most underrated campaign in Call of Duty history. I went back and replayed that campaign constantly, dude. The campaign aside, this game really did thrive in both zombies and it thrived in multiplayer, all right? I should have started with zombies because, boys, this is where we got the town map and we got the, what was it called? Transit. That was what it was called, Transit, where you were able to hop on the bus and like craft constructibles in the map and whatnot. You could go and just ride the bus and go from location to location. It was the first time that we got something like this for a zombies game. And so many people loved it, dude. Hated Transit, dark, cope, bro, because Transit was the tits. It offered a depth to zombies that we hadn't seen before. Multiplayer for this game was phenomenal. The guns felt incredible. The maps on the multiplayer side were so good. You got maps like Raid, Standoff, Hijacked. Yeah, I truly think that Black Ops and Black Ops 2 had some of the best maps, at least from a casual standpoint, that like we got in any Call of Duty. I didn't even mention with Black Ops, dude. We had Nuketown and we had Firing Range. So moving on to Call of Duty Ghosts. Frankly, I think Call of Duty Ghosts was like probably the most hated title in the Call of Duty franchise at this point, right? When Call of Duty Ghosts released, it had like a little bit of a style to it and it had like a little bit of like mechanical differences to it that people just hated. It just had a feeling to it that was different than what was in past, and the maps were different. The guns kind of felt different. There was like little bits and pieces, little things that people just could not come to really enjoy about Call of Duty Ghosts. But now what I will say is that Call of Duty Ghosts had one of the greatest campaigns out there. Once again, a very I don't know if I could say greatest campaigns, but it had an incredible campaign. And it got really overlooked because at this point in time, Call of Duty was definitely much more of like a multiplayer person's game, right? Everybody was playing Call of Duty for the multiplayer at this point, especially with the streak that they went on with these 4 right here. It's hard to deny that Call of Duty, like people don't play campaigns in Call of Duty anymore. And they even kind of know that, man. Like if you look at most of the titles that they're coming out now and their campaigns, they're just so undercooked and like underwhelming. I really don't think that like many people, like Call of Duty is really trying to guide a player towards the campaign experience as much as they used to. Ghosts for me is a B tier title. I think it's tough for me to put it up there with Call of Duty 4 and World at War, just because it didn't really bring anything new to the table. It was just kind of a little bit more of the same, but also with like a slight twist in the sense of like the way that the gunplay and everything felt. But at the same time, I did think it was a positive experience in the franchise. C tier is kind of where I'm ready to put the most of those titles that I just didn't really seem to care for, nor did I think they really nor did I think that they were like, you know, the best direction for the title. And honest to God, bro, that's where I'm putting Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, man. Advanced Warfare for me was not a great time. I didn't like the advanced movement. It was the biggest jump in from what made Call of Duty Call of Duty. We were starting to get into like some like Halo kind of like overly futuristic type of shit. And I wasn't for it, man. You're going to even see this with Black Ops 3 because Black Ops 3 went that advanced movement route too. And it just wasn't my favorite thing, man. Like I thought it had cool stuff to it. They brought in like the supply drops and things like that. You can unlock variants of the weapons. In some ways that was good. In some ways it was bad. But I thought it was at least a cool thing to try. And it also wasn't like a gambling nightmare at the time. Like some games would turn that sort of thing into. It was somewhat like kind of pay to win though, because there were certain variants in that game that were just like, I think there was an ASM1 variant in that game that everybody was going for. It was godlike, and if you weren't using it, you were getting shit on in pubs. Advanced Warfare, I think it was a cool title, but I didn't like the movement. Fundamental, not my thing. Campaign was cool though. Now we get into Black Ops 3. All I'm going to say with Black Ops 3 is that it felt like more of the same with like Advanced Warfare, but at the same time, the campaign to me was not it by any means, was not it for me. And the zombies didn't really feel like it really got any kind of improvement to it. I can't remember necessarily if this is where they introduced Gobblegum. It might have been where they did, but Gobblegum to me never felt like anything really awesome. It was a cool idea, but it just didn't really feel like much of an improvement. Between Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3, I'm picking Advanced Warfare because of the campaign to go into that C tier. Black Ops 3 into that D tier because just simply the campaign wasn't good. And overall, the style of gameplay was not my thing. All right. I know a lot of people, when it comes to the actual gameplay experience, like the multiplayer experience, a lot of people will pick Black Ops 3 over Advanced Warfare. But for me, like, I was already kind of cut out from that idea of thinking just because of how much I don't like the advanced movement. All right, moving on. I've talked enough about advanced movement, but I'm not going to drift away from how much I don't like Call of Duty Infinite Warfare. What was this title, man? If somebody can explain to me why Call of Duty thought Infinite Warfare was going to be a good idea, I need to hear a reason, because this was at the point where, to me, Call of Duty felt like it was at its lowest, right? Nobody really played Advanced Infinite Warfare. I think they even offered bundles of this game with like the Call of Duty 4 Remastered, right? Notice how I didn't put Call of Duty 4 Remastered into this tier list. That's just simply because at the end of the day, it's the same game. But yeah, no, Kenneth, I'm right there with you, bro. It felt like a little bit of a cash grab. It felt like Call of Duty didn't really have anything else to go off of. So they just kind of like picked up the scraps from their old game and just threw it in there. Let's move on. Call of Duty World War II. This game to me wasn't like a great title. The multiplayer felt like it got a little bit of life breathed back into it. I don't know if any of you guys played this game, but they offered a game mode, like a war. I think it was a game mode called War, where it was like it was like a sequence of multiple objectives in a single game mode. We hadn't really seen too many games at the time that offered a game mode where you could do multiple objectives in the matter of one map, one round, one whatever. But I thought that was a really, really cool idea for Call of Duty. Really, really did enjoy that from the casual perspective. And I know they would continue to incorporate that into future titles here and there. But for me, it just wasn't enough to really bring back the idea. Like the gunplay for me, it wasn't it. The maps, not great. I didn't even play the campaign. It just didn't, like, the overall game did not have much of an appeal for me in the slightest. World War II, D tier. I'm locking that in. Call of Duty Black Ops 4. This was a major step in the right direction, okay? Call of Duty Black Ops 4, this has to be B tier for me. While they did bring in the hero shooter aspect to this game, they introduced that into the Call of Duty scene with this game. Actually, okay, hold on. No, they didn't introduce the hero stuff to Call of Duty with this game. They did that in Black Ops 3. Apologies. But I feel like they did it much better in Black Ops 4. And I thought that the maps were better in Black Ops 4. There was still like a little bit of movement tech that was getting brought in to Black Ops 4, but it wasn't like this crazy thrusters all around the air that you were getting in like Advanced Warfare and Black Ops 3. They were trying to ground the game more and kind of find like a perfect medium, a happy medium between these two titles and kind of like what Call of Duty historically was, which I could at least appreciate, man. It was a fun twist, but it wasn't over the top. And this game actually had a really, really good gunplay and really, really good maps. But once again, the campaign was trash, and zombies, I think, is somewhat forgettable for this game. I didn't really like the zombies maps that they brought in on launch, but they would continue to bring in a lot of the legacy fan favorite zombies maps from the past games. I think Black Ops 4 was cool. The overall multiplayer experience was cool. I do think it edges out Advanced Warfare in terms of its playability. But to me, like, I think Ghost is like, the difference between Ghost and Black Ops 4 for me is quite distinct, personally. Modern Warfare 2019. This might be a little bit of a drastic take, but I think it's hard to not put Modern Warfare up in the A tier, man. We got Warzone out of this. It was coming in at a time where we needed video games more than anything, and this game really did the job. I loved the multiplayer to it, with the exception of a few different, like a few mechanics and a few features in the core multiplayer. The campaign was good. I really, really enjoyed the campaign, and the multiplayer, or the Warzone experience, was phenomenal, right? This was our first time dropping into Verdansk. I have so many memories of me jumping into Modern Warfare with my buddies and just like literally losing track of the time because we were just going round after round after round, maybe not even like like winning all the time. All the fights were intense as hell, and it just kept us so engaged, and it was such a fun time. I think this is a bit like very, very much like a low A tier, but that Warzone experience really carried. Does everyone forget about Blackout mode? That was way better than. I disagree. I don't think Blackout was better than Warzone, at least at Warzone's inception. Blackout was still fun, but I personally enjoyed the Warzone take on a BR in Call of Duty than I enjoyed Blackout. We got Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War. Now, this might also be another hot take because I personally think that this was a good game. I think that this was a good game. What I will say is that this was a major step back for Warzone, but I really enjoyed the multiplayer experience for this game. And I thought that the campaign was all right. This finds itself at a very low B tier for me. Like, it could drop into that C tier, but I really did think that the multiplayer experience for Cold War was fun. All right. And plus they brought in a bunch of fun game modes that were really enjoyable around COVID. The maps to me were like good for the most part. The gunplay was fun. Like I said, very low B tier title. I thought Cold War was fun though. Call of Duty Vanguard. I know this was a title that really pissed a lot of people off, and then some people really, really didn't mind it. I'll repeat it again. I don't think Call of Duty is a franchise that really thrives in like those World War II settings, but Vanguard's gunplay and things like that weren't that bad. The maps weren't my favorite. I don't even remember the campaign. Vanguard itself to me was just kind of like a meh title. I think people really, really hated it though, because it just felt like another step away from like what made Call of Duty great, right? Like when people played Modern Warfare 2019, were loving Warzone and shit like that. Black Ops came in and it was kind of like a little bit of a step down. People were like, all right, surely they got to kind of like bring it all back and like, you know, give us classic COD again, right? They bring in Call of Duty Vanguard, and what was it? That completely changed Warzone. I don't know why they continue to do this so much in terms of like jumping back and forth between like time settings, but Vanguard to me wasn't it. Call of Duty Modern Warfare 220. I think this was 2021. Brother, this is going D tier for me. The campaign, first of all, for this game, shit. All right, shit. They did so much marketing off the Ghost persona and Ghost, like the iconicness of Ghost in this game, that like, it felt like they didn't put anything else into the game, dude. The multiplayer for me was not fun. There were certain moments where it was like really, really choppy and like not great netcode in the beginning of the game. And like overall, it just like I grew out of this game almost instantly. The maps were not fun in the slightest. I didn't enjoy it, man. And just when you thought it really couldn't get any worse, they come in and destroy our fan nostalgia with Modern Warfare 2, 2009, with this Modern Warfare 3 title right here, man. I don't know why they decided to go on this like remake run. They did all right. They did good with like the story points in like Modern Warfare 2019. I thought that was cool, but these two titles were just unbelievably garbage, dude. I don't know anybody that played this game for more than like 2 weeks, even though they brought in all the classic maps from Modern Warfare 2, really doesn't deserve anything higher than an F tier. I'm sorry. If you enjoyed that game, I don't know how you continue to play it for as long as you did. Moving on, we have Call of Duty Black Ops 6. This is the last game in the title that we've gotten ourselves to at this point of this recording. Black Ops 6 had so much going for it. It's hard to really give a ranking to this because it did something so well and something so poorly. I was a little upset with this title. I'm going to just go ahead and throw it in. I'm going to give Black Ops 6 a C tier. I think this is a little bit of a higher C tier because overall the gunplay and the way the game felt was really good. It was a lot of fun. But like the maps in this game were so trash, dog. And there were so few of them. I just don't understand how we got to a point where Call of Duty just doesn't care about their maps. Because to me, that's like what they grew off of, dude. Look at these top 4 titles right here. And you can name so many bangers off them alone, dude. I truly feel like that's what separates these titles away from like the rest of the games in this list, man. Black Ops 6 just felt like it had that groundedness, it had that like flair to it, but that the maps and the multiplayer were so trash. It really hurts me. It really hurts me because I felt like that was all it needed, but I digress. Boys, that is the tier list. That's where I have everything lined up. If you disagree with any of my picks, first of all, you can go kick rocks. Second of all, go type about it in the comments or something like that. This is the only correct list. I don't care what you have to say, all right? And I'm looking at you right there, Dark Sack, all right? My entire comment section in this video is all you, pal. Brother, stop yelling at the sky. Fellas, I hope you enjoyed the tier list. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate you.